Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning, and hope you're having a great start to your day. And I hope you've had your vitamin C. You know me. This is what you need every day. How are you? Let me say hello to a few of our dear friends before we get started this morning. Mike and Brahim, 1 and 2. You guys are unreal. I don't know what your secret is, and you haven't revealed it to the rest of us. Andrea, Niagara Falls, good morning. Rosa from Montreal. Kevin from Oshawa. Nativity, good morning. And Janice from Brampton. And Elaine from St. John's, Newfoundland, good morning. Maria from Ottawa. Sherry from Mississauga. Nellie, good morning. And Jeanette from our staff, and she's got snowflakes there. I don't know if is it snowing. Carrie, Nebraska. Frida, good morning. Kathy from Virginia. Donna from Bell Valley, Ontario. Adeline, good morning. Vince, how are you? And Marilyn from Kelowna. Wow, bright and early. And Betty Lynn, how are you? From Brampton. Dan from where? You didn't say. Cecilia, good morning. Donna, Park Hill, right? David, Jensen Beach, Florida. Julie, Newfoundland. Wendy, Markham, good morning. Shirley, Twin Gate, Newfoundland. Veronica, how are you? And Cheryl from Texas. And another Donna, good morning. Fran, Orangeville. It's like I know you guys. And Karen from Peterborough. Marcia, hola from Mexico. Good morning. And Susan, Florida. How are you? Francis from Vaughan. Tasha, good morning to you. Rita, Nouveau Brunswick. Lori, Cambridge. Bonnie, how are you? Debbie, Sturgeon Falls. Mara, good morning to you. And Donna from Newfoundland. Kadicho. Francis Marie, good morning, guys. And Mary from Norwich. Bruno. Nice to have you on. Fran, I'm going to say hello to Dr. McEwen. I'm assuming she's there. Wanda, I miss her all the time. I don't know why. Robin, Connecticut. Carol, Moncton, British Columbia. Susan, Camrose, Alberta. Wendy from Wasaga Beach. There's Doc McEwen. I see your name. How are you, Ange? Rita, Tracy, good morning. Leslie, Thunder Bay. And okay, one more. Dave, Muskoka, good morning, Joy. I didn't want to miss you, Joy. Sue. Thea. Anna, Hamner. Zian, bonjour. And Trudy, good morning from Elmer. Okay, now. This morning, I want to talk to you about, I never talk to you about this, insulin resistance. I'm just joking. It seems like I never stop talking about insulin, that hormone that wants you dead. Remember, I wrote a book, 2011, 2 hormones that want you dead, insulin and cortisol. Now, I want you to think for a minute with me. Insulin is a hormone. Fill in that word. Insulin is it's a hormone at the end. What kind of hormone? What am I looking for? Somebody tell me. Hi, Madeleine. How are you? Tina, good morning. I want someone to answer. Insulin is a blank hormone. Come on, guys. Maybe you're trying to answer. Fran says she loves my hat. Martin Clinic. Okay. Everybody's saying hello. It's a growth hormone. Kathy, you're right. Andrea, you're right. But that's not the word I'm looking for. Francis, you're right. Dave, you're right. 'Cause it is a growth hormone. Susan, you're right. Everybody. And Ed's saying growth. Everybody's saying growth. Sonia, you guys, quit listening to me. Rita, that's what I was looking for. Rita got it. It's a food hormone, but it is a growth hormone. Okay? What's the other growth hormone? Okay? You got a growth hormone, by the way. Okay? But what are the two hormones that want to make things grow? And Mike, you got it. Okay? It's what two hormones? Insulin and estrogen. Okay? But what I was looking for, insulin is a food hormone. Okay? But it's also a growth hormone. But, okay? Now what things, okay, now I want you guys to think, but I'm going to bring you, it's because there's a new study out. And I want to talk about this for a minute. But I want you guys to think, remember, I'm a teacher. Okay? I'm a teacher. And teachers repeat. But this is a new study. And when I say insulin, you think growth, beautiful, and you think food. Because that's when you use insulin. It's a food hormone. Okay? It comes out, okay, teaching. Ballpoint pen reminds you of your pancreas. Your pancreas is the same size as a ballpoint pen. And guys, remember something, okay? You're on with me, and most of you follow me on a daily basis. But there's always new people. I was talking to someone the other day. I said, okay, during the program live, we're at 269 right now. Okay, I see it on my screen. 270 people are on live right now. We usually go to 300 or 400 people live. But within an hour, this is how Facebook works. It's shared, you share it, Facebook shares it. And we're up to 1,000. By the end of the day, 10,000 views on average. Okay? Of this podcast. Then we turn it into a podcast. Okay? But there's always new people. So you have to understand that one of the things I do it for myself, I do it for you, and I do it for the new people, is I want to show them illustrations. Okay? Because that's the way I learn. And it's the way I teach. Illustrations. So when you think of insulin, you think of food. When you think of insulin, you think of growth. Because it's a storage hormone. Insulin wants to make you fat. Okay? And when insulin is present, it's impossible to lose weight. It's impossible. Okay? Now, ballpoint pen reminds you of your pancreas. The ink in the pen, insulin. Your pancreas secretes insulin when you eat. Okay? Now, even in our email today, we talked about how much insulin you need. It depends on what you're eating. That's a key. I've taught you that. What's the difference between eating a piece of steak and a chocolate bar? What's the difference? When you eat a chocolate bar, it's going to break down rapidly into sugar. Everything breaks into sugar, by the way. Okay? But it's at the speed. How fast does it break down? Okay? And when you have a piece of steak, You hardly need any insulin. Why? Because it's not breaking down fast. Insulin is so concerned about your blood sugar. Sugar is so toxic, your body knows that better than we do. The world out there, moderation. But your pancreas don't believe in moderation. Your insulin don't believe in moderation. You are not allowed to allow. Sugar can't park in the bloodstream. Okay? It can't. It's toxic. Empty out your 5 liters of blood and you will find less than a teaspoon of sugar in there. Even an hour after eating 20 donuts. Because your body, excuse me, your body would rather you have fatty liver, diabetes, anything but high blood sugar. Sugar is so toxic. Man, oh man, your body is smart, isn't it? So, what am I getting at? Okay? Insulin is a food hormone. Insulin is a growth hormone. Insulin is a storage hormone. It stores fat. Yeah. It stores fat. It stores sugar into fat. Okay? Does fat make you fat? Nope. Do eggs make you fat? Nope. Does eggs give you heart disease? Nope. Sugar does. Sugar does. Okay. But that's not even my point this morning. Okay? So you guys know this. Anyone listening for the first time, going to teach you something. The more you use insulin, depending on the food that you choose. My name is Tony, and I'm a carboholic. Okay, but there's consequences. There's consequences to eating carbs because they turn to sugar rapidly. Okay? There's consequences. Not only obesity, not only fat, not only elevated triglyceride, whatever. Okay? Insulin is like, what have I taught you before? It's like having a bad neighbor that comes to your door all the time. Knock, 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 knock. Can I borrow some sugar? Can I bother you for something? How about we have a coffee? And you're going, ooh, you're always coming around. So what happens at the cellular level? When people insist on living on carbohydrates, bread, pasta, rice, cereals, sugar, sweets, pastries, muffins, bagels. Okay? Dr. Martin, it's a 12-grain bagel. I don't care. It still needs a lot of insulin. Okay? So, when people insist on that, they develop at the cellular level. Your cells go, would you get out of here, insulin? I'm so sick of you. You're always coming around. I can't handle it anymore. That's what we call insulin resistance or high circulating insulin. 93% of the population have high circulating insulin or insulin resistance. 93%. Okay? And it has to do with food. I am, okay, see this face? I am a food doctor. Okay? And I've tried to teach you this over the years. I did it on my radio show for 20 years. I talk to people about food choices. And I have been consistent. The king of the castle is eggs, meat, and cheese. The animal kingdom. It's the best by far for you. It's not even close. Okay? You want to have some fruits and vegetables? Go for it. But don't fool yourself. It's not the most nutrient-dense food. It's just not. Okay? Now, all that to bring you a new study. Okay? And this morning, I want to talk to you about insulin resistance in the absence of food. Now, Doc, are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. There is a way to develop insulin resistance without food. Okay? There is a way. Now, I'm not saying it happens every day. I'm just saying that insulin resistance, okay, when your cells are resistant to insulin, now you need even more insulin because insulin is a traffic cop. It will not allow sugar to stay in the bloodstream. You know what a diabetic is? A diabetic is someone that's been a diabetic for a lot of years. And it all started with insulin resistance. Okay? It all started with insulin resistance. And what they're showing today, and I've been saying this for so long, is insulin resistance is one of the seeds of disease and the biggest factor in heart disease, not fat, not cholesterol, not salt. Cardiologists always got it wrong. And I'll tell you why they got it wrong. Because they don't know anything about food. Okay? They don't. They're upside down when it comes to food. Fat makes you fat. You better cut your fat. You got cholesterol. You're going to have a heart attack. Or the reason you had a heart attack, because you got so much cholesterol. And you're eating too much fat. They still do that today. And they haven't taken my course, Nutrition 101. Fat does not make you fat. Fat does not give you bad cholesterol. Because there's no such thing. Anyway, okay? So insulin resistance is at the root of heart disease. Insulin resistance is at the root of cancer. What fuel does cancer need? What fuel does cancer thrive on? You know this. Sugar. Sugar. Alzheimer's is called, okay, number 3, cognitive, brain, dementia. Alzheimer's is called what? Type 3 diabetes, 2005. Okay? They hit it. They changed the name. They don't call it that, even though that's what it is, but they don't call it that because the powers to be don't want that. Okay? And then, obviously, one of the biggest killers in the world today, the one that cost our healthcare system more money than anything else, you know what it is? Diabetes. Because we don't have a healthcare system. We have a disease care system. And the world's not into prevention. The world is into treatment and management. So you're a diabetic? You're always a diabetic. Well, yeah, but anyway, diabetes is a food problem. It's the wrong food. And then there's autoimmune disease. Okay? Those are the 5 biggest diseases, killers in the world today. Not bacteria, not viruses, but self-induced disease. Chronic self-induced disease. Right? That's why we have a program. That's why we talk about it all the time. Now, back to insulin resistance. Okay? What can cause insulin resistance within the absence of eating sugar and carbs, crappy carbs? Okay? Now, I want to talk about it, and I'm not even testing you. If you want to put up what you think, Rita. You guys, Karen, you guys are too stinking smart. Gertie. Cecilia. Oh, I can't stand it. You guys are smarter than me. Frida. My audience, honestly. Guys, I didn't even put you to the test and you do it. Stress. Yeah. Cortisol. And I wrote about this in 2011. In the absence. That's why cortisol wants you dead. Because cortisol is an accelerant. If you have inflammation, it pours gasoline on it. It's an accelerant. That came out of teaching out of the Martin Clinic. Tony Jr. and I sat around one day and we said, we talked about cortisol. We're writing that book. And we came up with it. You know what it is? It's pouring gasoline on a fire. It's an accelerant. And what I wrote in 2011, what Tony Jr. and I wrote in 2011 was that even in the absence of food, if you're stressed to the hilt, you create insulin resistance. Your cells become more resistant to insulin. And guess what? When you're stressed, most people, they reach for, because what cortisol does, cortisol's job is to elevate your blood sugar. It's getting you ready for the fight or flight. That's cortisol. Okay? So, when you're up, when it's inside, you almost feel like you got, you're wound up. You can almost feel like a vibration inside of you. That's cortisol. And cortisol pours gasoline on inflammation, but it also makes your cells more insulin resistant. That is why it's so key to eating properly. In the world in which we live, where stress it's on steroids, stress. There's so much around us. I mean, there's so little quiet, including my voice. Okay. I got a microphone on, can you see? Okay. But I don't need one. I got, like my son introduces me at a seminar if we're together and he goes, "This is my dad and he don't need a microphone. He's got one built into his throat." Well, we were 11 kids. I had to scream to get my mom and dad's attention. Now, okay. Whew. And look at the path I've taken, okay, today, like, right, beating around the bush. Because I didn't even talk to you about a new study out. Here's a new study, okay? And it's talking about insulin resistance in the absence of food. So we know one of them is cortisol, the stress hormone. Okay? Got it? Okay. We got the memo. 2, you know what it is, this study on? You know what creates insulin resistance? Statin drugs. Yep. Statin drugs to lower cholesterol. New study creates insulin resistance. Do you know that women, okay, especially, because this came out years ago, I talked about it on my radio show 20 years ago, that statin drugs, 50% of women that take them become diabetics. And what statins do is they create insulin resistance. New study. We already knew about the diabetes, but it never said why. Or at least not the studies didn't show why. Now we know why. Because in the absence of even eating bad foods, these drugs, one of the side effects, and you're not hearing me tell you not to take them. I won't do that. I'm just giving out information that statin drugs, the number one selling drug of all time is Lipitor, a statin drug to lower cholesterol. The problem is enormous side effects. One of them is rhombolithiasis, which is damage to muscle. Geez, I thought the heart was a muscle. I don't want to go there. Yikes! It creates insulin resistance. And insulin resistance, remember what I said. Insulin resistance is at the root of metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is characterized by high triglycerides, low HDL cholesterol, high blood pressure, okay, belly fat, okay, elevated uric acid levels, and elevated blood glucose, even within normal limits, still elevated. Those are the signs of metabolic syndrome. 93% of the population have insulin resistance and some form that you can actually read on a blood test, or blood pressure, or blood sugar, or A1C. Okay? That's why I love those tests, guys. When I look at tests, I'm looking for those. What's your A1C? What's your triglycerides? What is your HDL? I want to know. And statin drugs, hot off the press, puts a person into insulin resistance and they don't even know it. That's not good. It's a major side effect. Insulin resistance. And you know what the third one is? I talked about this, I don't know, 40-something years ago. Guys, What is the greatest discovery of the 20th century? What have I said about that? What is the greatest discovery of the 20th century? Somebody give me an answer, okay? Somebody give me an answer. What's the greatest discovery of the 20th century? Not statin drugs. Hey, Gertie, you got it. Antibiotics, okay? Greatest discovery of the 20th century was antibiotics. Wow. Saved millions and millions and millions of people's lives. Still does today. Medicine got antibiotics right. Here's the problem. It's a double-edged sword. And guys, I've been saying this for so long. What is the number one cause of leaky gut? Okay? What did Hippocrates say? All disease starts in the gut. He didn't even know about the microbiome. He didn't even know about all these bacteria in there. He didn't even know really about the invisible war that takes place in your gut. And antibiotics, God bless them, they save millions of people's lives, are killing people. The side effect, it's leaky gut. And when a person has leaky gut, when the microbiome, when the bad guys are more than the good guys inside your gut, you know one of the factors in there is insulin resistance can develop in lieu of food. Cortisol, stress. Of course, that affects your gut too, doesn't it? Think of butterflies, right? In the gut. That changes things. And look, if I scare you, am I scaring you with my voice? I don't mean to, okay? I remember a patient come into my office, and I'll never forget, because she was a tiny little lady, and she goes like this, okay? Bring your volume down, Dr. Martin. I started laughing. I said, I don't have a low volume. I can't whisper. She said, bring your volume down. I can't bring my volume down. I don't have the volume switch on this voice. Anyway, guys, leaky gut. Leaky gut. The number one cause of leaky gut is antibiotics. In 5 days of an antibiotic, you wipe out all your good guys. Yeah, your infection's gone. Hallelujah. But the problem is, you've disrupted the microbiome and you start a process not only of which leaky gut, you start a process of yeast, the invasion of the third army into your body, which I talk about all the time, which is a big factor in cancer. Right? Yeast. Fungus. Candida. Okay? It spreads. Yeast spreads. It's like mold. Mold spreads. It's the cousin of mold. It gets into your bloodstream and it goes. It can get into the brain. Okay? But at the cellular level too, antibiotics, because they affect the microbiome in the gut, create at the cellular level insulin resistance. Guys, it's all the more reason. Cortisol, statin drugs, antibiotics. All the more reason to take care of yourself. all the more reason to take probiotics. All the more reason to get your stress levels down. All the more reason. The thing you can control is food. And I know that insulin is a food hormone, but there's other things that bother it, bother the resistance to it. But you can control what you eat every day, and that will make a big difference. I used to tell my patients on statin drugs because I was worried they'd become a diabetic. Don't worry about cholesterol, I said. Worry about sugar. Get off the stinking sugar. Sugar is toxic, and you happen to be allergic to it. Diabetes is an allergy to carbs and sugar. It's an allergy. You don't get along. Okay. That was fun. Guys, guess what tomorrow is? Question and Answer Friday. Send your questions in. I don't think it's too late. Okay? Guys, isn't that, some interesting stuff comes down the pipe, doesn't it? It sure is interesting to me, and I'm trying to make you interested in it. I hope I'm succeeding. You guys are smart, by the way. I just send out something, and you get the answers right all the time. You're almost no fun. No, you're lots of fun. No, guys, you have no idea. You see how I appreciate it, okay? How I appreciate it because you're responding. You know. Unreal. You're all getting your honorary degrees. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.